Welcome back to Baltic Boss Babes. Today we're interviewing Sandra Goldbreich, a powerhouse in Baltic venture capital. As general partner at BSV Ventures, she's backing deep tech startups and has led the first Baltic investment from the NATO Innovation Fund. She's also empowering women in venture capital through Women InvestEU and her Business Angels School, training 130 plus new angel investors. Get ready for insights on breaking barriers and why the future of VC is female. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode of Baltic Boss Babes. And today I have another ass-kicking boss babe with me today. And I'm proud to present in this episode of Baltic Boss Babes, I am introducing to you Sandra Goldbreich, a dynamic leader and visionary in the world of early stage investing. As general partner at Baltic Sandbox Ventures and the founding partner of Business Angels School, Sandra is not only investing in startups, but also building a powerful network and community for women in investing and leadership. Her commitment to fostering diversity and empowering women through initiatives like Women Investing in Tech is drastically transforming the landscape of Baltic entrepreneurship and inspiring a new generation of leaders. Hi, Sandra. I'm so happy to meet you and to see you here.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
So usually, when we start the episodes, we just like to get to know you a little bit better. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself, who is Sandra, and maybe some pinpoints in your career and life that have actually made the Sandra you are today?
That's interesting. I'm a Jew and Israeli who's living in Lithuania for the last 10 years. We have some community of crazy people like this who are coming, from kind of to live in Baltic countries, from some like warmer countries, and we're always making fun about it. Another general partner in our venture fund is Eric. He's Australian, who lives in Estonia. So we're always making jokes about the weather. Yeah. Apart from this, we invest in early stage startups, but not just startups. We invest in deep tech, life sciences, and dual use, meaning most of our founders are people who are sitting in the labs, doing some things, and they don't even know that they're startup founders. And then we come and we tell them, look, they want to be a startup founder. They want to get money from the investors. And they're like, what? To do what? So probably this is it. And with the last 10 years, I've been working in startups this or that way, like at least in Lithuania. I was mentoring some startups in 2018. Me and my business partner decided to launch an accelerator. This decision was made in 3 weeks, and then kaboom, like in 1 month, we already have our first batch with some startups coming apparently from all over Europe. Even we had some startup from Australia, I guess. And this is how it started back then. Then we were running this accelerator, like privately funded accelerator, which was, I think we were like the second one in the region, doing a lot of things there. And then eventually we became a venture fund, which is not surprising because it's a pretty obvious transition. So yeah.
Do you have any pinpoints in your career when you could say that, yeah, actually this was the thing that actually made me go and become a venture fund owner almost, or a startup founder? Like, what are these events that actually happened that made the turn for you towards startup ecosystem rather than the corporate one?
Well, I mean, I've never been in the corporate. I've been a business owner and a business founder for the last 20 years. So corporates would have been a bit unnatural for me. Because I guess I don't play by the rules, but I don't think there was some turning point, because it was a pretty natural transition from one to another. I mean, I started like many, many years ago with an advertising agency. Then at some point we turned into the websites, of course, because like it was the time. Then we turned into something else. So it was like one thing leading to another. And probably the fact that I moved to Lithuania was pretty interesting because, first of all, I wasn't even planning to move to Lithuania. I was planning to move to Barcelona. And not that I really knew where Lithuania was on the map, to be honest.
That's usually the case with the Baltics. That's all right.
Well, I actually knew where Poland is and where Latvia is, so it kind of helped. And then I came to Vilnius in September, like the beginning of September, because like if you come to Baltics in winter, you probably never want to stay stay. But then it was so beautiful, the stunning weather, the sun, this amazing green city. And that was, I think, the turning point, because it was the crazy decision to, okay, I'm not moving to Barcelona, I'm moving to Vilnius. And I didn't know a single person. I didn't speak the language, and I had no single idea what I'm going to do in Vilnius. But kaboom, decision is made. I kind of moved to Vilnius, and it was 2014, and the startup ecosystem was at the very, very early stages. And it was so fascinating. It's still fascinating. I mean, but back then it was just amazing because you can actually build something from scratch.
Right. Yeah. It's like being in the epicenter of something new and creative coming up, right?
Yeah. And it was super cool. So we were doing a lot of things like building this accelerator and everything. And now after 10 years, the ecosystem has obviously matured. We have unicorns in the region and everything, but you kind of realize at some point that you were like one of those people among others that was building this ecosystem from scratch. And it's super cool. I still don't, I think. And then I think the main advantage of our region is that we are tiny. So you can actually do a lot of things. You can work together with the government or something, because when you have an idea, you can actually talk to those people because you know these people. I mean, like everyone knows everyone. So we need to get, I don't know, to the prime minister of some country. I just called a friend and said, like, look, we have this. Can you kind of call the guy? And this is really cool. I think it's our huge advantage when it comes to legislation, regulation, everything, because there are a lot of like good initiatives. For example, this whole fintech nation thing in Lithuania. Also in Lithuania, we launched the open medical data sandbox with our governmental and clinical partners last year. So you can actually do things on a bigger scale and you can see the change.
Cool. Are there any kind of influencers or people who you can point to and said that they contributed to my development, or maybe taking a decision here or there? Or is it just you the whole way?
Not really. I mean, it's me and my team, of course. It's my partners who I worked with like all this time. I think me and Andres, our another general partner, we met in 2016. So at the moment we met, we hated each other guts from the like very beginning. Okay. And I was like, yeah, that's the guy I would never in my life work with or do things together. And it's been 8 years since that. And in 2018, Eric joined us, and it was also a funny story because he was in Estonia and he was figuring out like what's happening in the region and so on. And he read somewhere about us and he's like, I have to meet those guys. And he just called us and said like, I want to meet you, We're like, okay, let's meet. And this is how he joined the team. And we've been like this team plus our other team members together since then. So.
Great. So really strong bond you have made there. I mean, that's interesting. You mentioned about hating the guts. Like, I would like to dig on this a little bit deeper, like, how did you transform from, oh my God, I would throw him out of a window from a 10th story to actually being able to work with this person? Like, what were the things that you had to overcome or manage the relationship there?
Well, I mean, I still want to throw him out of the window every single day. It's not the point. Well, when we met, we were like as different as possible. So like two very, very different people. But at the same time, when we talked, we figured that we have the same values. And we want to do some like this tech for good. And we want to develop the ecosystem. And we want to bring like certain knowledge to the region. We want to kind of rise up those startups. So of course I want to throw him out of the window every day, but at the same time I know that like together we're doing a great job, I think.
Yeah, it's like a talk about diversity, right? So this is where it's very important. And you mentioned very important factor again about the same values, right? So not the workspace not necessarily have to be BFFs forever, right? So as long as you are going for the same goal and for the same value chain or values per se, then you can kind of work with each other's personalities around that, right? So I think that is something that you have managed.
I think it's the matter of trust, it's the matter of believing like in each other, in understanding that we are here like in the same boat and for the same goals and for the same reason and for the same values. And it's pretty normal, like when there are some fights inside of the team and everything, because like each person has their own opinion. If we were all similar, it wouldn't work out, especially when it comes to the investments. We need to be very, very different. In every investment committee, when we do the recordings of our investment committees, when we start shouting and fighting and everything, but we fight because we care. We don't fight because we hate each other. We fight because we care. We want to make it better. We want to every person is very opinionated. And since we have a very diverse team, not just, gender diversity, but also ethnic diversity, because a lot of our team is coming from different countries. We all have our backgrounds and we all have our cultural things as well. And still we manage to get there every time. And I think it's a bonus. Each person is bringing something new to the table all the time.
Cool. I know that you have created this Women Angel Investing Initiative as well that has turned already into a kind of massive community all over Europe, as I understand correctly. Is that so? Would you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, it was 2020. It was COVID, probably first month of COVID or something. And we were talking to the business angels, and the business angels were pretty much lost at this point because they were like, we don't understand what to do now. Do we invest in startups? Do we wait? They're not just business angels, the whole basically venture community was lost because despite the venture funds are investing in innovation and everything, venture funds are very conservative. And especially in this region, but it was in Europe in general, none of the venture funds are used to do the deals remotely. Not seeing the founders, actually having the calls and making the decision without the meetings and so on. And no meetings were possible. So we had some business angels approaching us. We started talking to our friendly venture funds. How are they doing? How are they looking at the situation? And some of them were saying, oh, it's pretty very good time because we find a lot of new deals. And some were saying, look, we're sitting in our hands because we have no idea what's going to happen next. And as a venture fund, you can sit on your hands long enough. You can probably afford up to half a year, but then you still have to deploy the money. And we decided, okay, so let's kind of help the business angels to navigate the situation. I wrote this course on angel investing because, again, it's COVID. You don't have to go to the office. You can just work from 24 hours. And we started our first edition of Business Angel School. And what I noticed that out of probably 15 angels who were in this first Business Angel School, there was only one woman. And then the same situation happened with the second edition. And then I was like, okay, I know that there are female investors. There should be some reason why they're not enrolling into this educational program, because either they don't need it, which I don't believe, because if you're an early stage angel, you need some structure and everything, or something else is happening. And I started talking to those 3 female angels who were actually in the program, how they felt and everything. And they said that in very many cases, they felt intimidated and sometimes they felt stupid and they didn't want to ask the question because all the guys were asking the questions, talking about something. And they were like, yeah, probably, everyone knows it and I don't know it. And at the end of the day, they didn't feel safe. And I was like, okay, so let's do an experiment. And we launched the first edition of Women Investing in Tech, Business Angel School for the female investors. And for the first edition, and we didn't even advertise it. We just put it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and just shout out to some other angels, angels who are only starting, invite them and so on. And we had some crazy amount of applications, about 100 or something in just a couple of weeks. And we weren't expecting it. And we actually had to make the pre-interviews to make sure that those are real angels and they want to commit, because you can't have a group of 100. It's impossible. Your maximum group is 20. So we did that. After this, we started doing it on the annual basis, completely free for the female angels at our own cost, just to increase the number of the female investors. Because there was a story. There are 2 stories, actually. One of those stories is it was the same situation with the startups when we didn't have enough diversity in our batches. So we decided to launch the program Women in Tech. And when we received the applications, it was the highest number of applications we received ever. We did the program and we had the demo day. And at the demo day, I'm introducing the program and we have this first row of investors sitting there, first 2 rows of investors, I think. I'm introducing the program and I'm saying, okay, you are investors and you kind of have some idea in your head how your ideal founder should look like, what should be the qualities of this person, in which area this founder should work, and so on. And close your eyes and try to imagine this very ideal founder, shut up and take my money type of founder. And now open your eyes. And those of you who picture the woman, raise your hands.
None of them?
None of them.
Oh my God.
And then I said, like, you see, that's the problem, because it's in your head. The bias is in your head. You never actually perceive a female founder as an ideal founder. But there is no such problem for the female investor, because they don't have the bias in their heads.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, female founders, okay, male founders, okay, we don't care. And every time I was launching this business angel school, I was telling the story. And at some point, I'm in Tallinn at this Business Angel of the Year ceremony. So where they give awards to the business angels and everything. And they gave the award to the female business angel that year. And she's going on the stage. And what I hear from the stage, I hear this story when she tells it. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm opening my phone. I'm opening the list of our alumni and I see her name. And I was like, oh, wow. So our alumni, they go so far. They are becoming like the business angels of the year in some countries. They're doing a lot of investments. So cool.
I was wondering, like, you have gone through probably 1,000 women by now who are struggling in different kinds of ways, actually managing their way through leadership, investing, and kind of competing with male-dominated ecosystem per se. How have you felt once you were a startup founder, once you were an investor, and now a fund manager, like how you have gone through these different kind of stages, being a female entrepreneur, female investor, female manager? Maybe you have some stories to share there as well.
Well, there is this bias, of course, and I'm not just an investor. I'm a general deep tech enthusiast. If you look at the deep tech funds in the region, like Baltics, Nordics, the number of female, I know 3, including me. That's it. And in dual use in the whole region, I know 2. We are pretty rare. And every time, because I'm speaking a lot of conference, every time I go on stage, I see this, I might be the only woman in the panel. I see this, highly likely she's a talking woman in the panel. Okay, let's see what she's going to say.
Most likely what was the word?
The organizers of the conference or other panelists, moderators.
Yeah, moderator. Yeah. That's
with the moderator, it was like a really, really funny story. So I was speaking at one deep tech conference in the panel, and the moderator was sending the questions to all the panelists, and I'm the only woman in the panel, and other panelists are getting like really interesting questions, and I'm getting some questions like, how do you see the future of AI? I'm like, oh, okay, how do I see the future of AI? Let's talk about very, very deep tech stuff there. And actually, when I started talking like about different types of neural networks and everything, I see the moderator's face. I see how the moderator's face is changing while I'm talking. I see that at some point he doesn't actually understand what I'm talking about. And I see some people in the audience who some of them understand what I'm talking about, some of them don't. But at some point, all the people start looking at moderator, not at me, and people start laughing because his mimics actually showed that I didn't expect that. Okay.
There's some stereotype breaking right there, ladies and gentlemen. Suck it in.
So normally it's the matter of perception.
Yes.
And I notice it a lot when, for example, when we're fundraising for the fund, because on the LP side, it would be men in 99%. Mm-hmm. And when I'm coming together with Andres to talk to potential LPs, they're like, okay, Andres is the guy to talk to. And she's like, whatever. So for some reason, coming with him. And I started doing this as an icebreaker. So we're coming to the meeting and I don't know the person. And I'm saying, okay, so I'm Sandra. This is Andres. Andres is beautiful, I'm smart. And then what happens, they never question in the situation that I'm smart. They start questioning why Andres is beautiful. They start looking at Andres, trying to figure out, like, okay, well, he's apparently a good-looking guy, but why he's beautiful? And then there is this complete shift, and they don't perceive me anymore like, as some strange woman who comes to the meeting. Oh, okay, she's the smart one in the fund. Yeah, I should talk to her.
Yeah, it's not like you're the sidekick. You're now the main character there, right? So cool. That sounds so much fun. Maybe you can meeting so many new people as a part of a startup ecosystem, which is overall in Europe pretty huge. What are 2 most uncomfortable conversations that you have had, and how did you manage through them, looking from the being a female entrepreneur perspective, female leader perspective?
It would be always the same thing. First of all, when you talk to other GPs from time to time, there would be a guy who would be asking you, do you have kids? And I'm like, how's it relevant to what I'm doing? Oh, because if you would have kids, you would have changed your priorities and so on. And normally I'm asking, do you have kids? He said, like, why is it relevant? I said, like, why is it relevant in my case? So that's the part of the conversation that Sarah was trying to have. And then the second one is funny. So I'm 42. And normally there are always some guys who see me like as someone young, that the perception and something.
True. She does look younger, guys, so don't let her fool you.
And this is this question. At your age, and I'm like, yeah, I'm 42. So what's happening at my age? Am I too old already? And shall I go to the grave? And, oh, you're 42. Okay. Because they're trying to imply something like, you know, oh, you're 42.
Right?
Yeah. In your 30s and you're a general partner in the fund who put you there, girl, and something like this. And then they realize that I'm 10 years older than they actually thought. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when we are looking at our roads where we have come and gone through different kind of experience, we always understand, you know, that these moments, conversations, experiences, and even mistakes are the ones that are making us the way we are today. But if you had an opportunity to go back in time and change one thing that you did, that even though we do consider that it has brought you to today, what would be the thing that you would probably change and why?
I would go into tech earlier. Only this, nothing else, because I do believe that every mistake that we make is a turning point, and like we learn from it and we continue our journey. But I would just probably go into tech way earlier than I went actually into tech, because I think we started doing something meaningful, relevant in tech in 2008, and I would have done it starting probably 2003.
Okay, cool. That is a very interesting kind of regret to have. I hear that you are saying you are keeping yourself so active and going to conferences. And believe me, you guys, it was a really tough call to get Sandra to talk to us because of her crazy schedule. How do you keep your productivity up? Could you share some hacks maybe with us? What do you do to keep you at your peak performance? Of course, we understand we are human and we can't be 100% every day, all year round, right? But there must be something that you do to keep yourself kind of, let's go.
First of all, I'm pretty lucky as a person to love what I'm doing. So that's one. And that brings your energy levels really high always. But secondly, we had a pretty tough spring and there were a lot of business trips and there were a lot of conferences and everything. At some point, I realized that I would need some vacation in summer. And I was actually thinking about going Camino. And I'm not the person who is exercising every day, although I'm trying to do some things and keep some physical activity. And I didn't even realize how it's going to be like not to just walk, to hike 810 kilometers at the longest and the most difficult Camino. But I started booking the tickets and everything, but I was still thinking, am I going? Am I not going? Because it takes a lot of time also, obviously. And then I'm going from one conference to another. So I'm in Tallinn after coming from Lisbon, after coming from like Vienna. So it was like a very, very long trip, one city after another. I'm supposed to go to Brussels and then I'm supposed to go to Helsinki. And I realized that actually I feel really, really, really bad and I have some flu and I have something else. And I'm coming back to Vilnius for a day. I tell my business partner that I think I'm sick and everything. And he calls the doctor that we know. And he tells the doctor, look, I don't know what you're going to do, but I need her after tomorrow standing on the stage and talking to people. So I got to hospital for half a day for some injections and the stuff and everything. And then next morning, I'm on the plane to Helsinki. And then I realized, okay, you do this trip to Helsinki, you do your like next trip, and then that's it. You really, really need your break. That was one of the reasons why I went to Camino. Another reason is I process things when I'm walking. And if I have all the things comfortable, and since a lot of things were happening lately during the last year when we are in pain or grief or something like this, it's also walking. So it's like a very good coping mechanism. So my walking was for 34 days and I came back from Camino and I'm like, okay, now I can finally do some work. Well, of course, I was working while walking and it was hilarious, especially the business calls when you're sitting like on the top of the mountain and you're sitting on the top of the mountain, not because you want to show everyone that you got to the top of the mountain, but because it's the only place where you have some solar connection. and you're sitting there, oh, hello. And everyone's, Sandra, what a nice screensaver you have behind you. And I'm like, well, why it's a screensaver? And they're like, where you are? And I said like, well, I don't know really, somewhere in the northern Spain, walking Camino and talking to you at the same time. Coming back to the question, walking. My thing is walking and hiking and movements in general.
Okay. Yeah. So I've heard that we had another guest just the other day, and she said that she does this 30-kilometer hike every Sunday just for herself. And I thought that's actually pretty amazing. So you spend first 10 kilometers just obsessing about everything, and then everything just shuts up and becomes quiet. And then for another 20, you can actually start doing some productivity on your brain.
I can totally relate to this because to the hikes and everything. And when it comes to community experience, it's very physically challenging because you have to climb very harsh terrains, rocks like winds, whatever. And you carry a backpack, and my backpack was overloaded, and you carry your water and so on. So when you do this, you might wake up in the morning being obsessed with something, but after 2 kilometers, you're only focused on this hiking, and you are like hiking and cursing and like, why am I even doing this in my life and so on? And not a single thought in your brain anymore. It's like meditation actually, but it's, from my point of view, it's better than meditation because I'm not the person who can sit still. You've noticed it, like, well, I'm talking to you. But when you do this and then you do this walking, hiking, whatever for 8 hours during the day, and you have this empty head at the same time in the back of your head, you have some ideas that are something new that starts to grow there, and it's actually beautiful. I guess so.
We should definitely watch out for Sandra's LinkedIn because something interesting might be popping out soon. Like you said that you were bringing everything with you. Like, did you have some comfort food with you during the Camino as well, or not?
I had proteins. I wouldn't call it a comfort food. They're actually disgusting, but sometimes it's the only way you can get your breakfast.
Okay, so on a regular day when you're at home and like feeling really lousy, is there something that you could eat, like a real comfort food that you would like?
On the regular day, I'm not at home. I'm afraid on the regular day I'm traveling. But yeah, when I'm home, I think like in this season, in this climate, it can be like a chicken soup or something like this.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Usually we go for McDonald's or some chocolate, and here you have a healthy steamed chicken soup. But no, that's actually cool. I might try that actually, because there is some weird comfort in that, bouillon. No, what's it?
It's a bowl of soup and broth, and it feels like childhood.
Right, exactly. So mommy is taking care of you. So as we are slowly wrapping up our episode, I'm curious, is there something that I haven't asked that you would probably want to answer? Or some question that you would want me to ask you? No, not this time. All right, that's fair. Yeah, what is the most unfiltered advice that you could give to our lady listeners and younger generations, high schoolers, university graduates for their upcoming journey in leadership and business environment?
You can do it. I mean, doubting yourself is normal. Imposter syndrome is normal. When you look at other people and you think, oh, they're so confident, they're so successful, they're this and that, you actually have no idea what's happening on the inside. And you have no idea that this person might have this imposter syndrome. And every time she starts talking, she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough and so on. So thinking you're not good enough, but at the same time doing things is normal. This is how a person lives. But allowing someone to bring you to the situation where you feel that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, that's not normal. So just don't listen to anyone and do your own thing, the thing that you really, really want to do, and you'll get there.
Cool. Thank you, Sandra, so much. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Definitely I did. So many wonderful stories from this person, and I'm sure we are gonna hear some of them more in the upcoming seasons and years. As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our social media channels on LinkedIn and Instagram, and watch out for the next episode in just a few weeks. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Sandra, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.
That was an incredible conversation with Sandra. Her journey and insights are a true inspiration for anyone looking to break barriers in investing and leadership. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram for more stories from fearless leaders. Stay bold, keep pushing boundaries, and we'll see you next time on Baltic Boss Babes.